Okay, we are officially live. Thank you for joining us, friends. As you know, I am Brandon McCatherine. This you're probably watching on the PGF World YouTube channel, or you might be watching here on my YouTube channel. And today, I'm joined by one of my favorite people on the planet, maybe the happiest, most joyful person I've ever met in my life. It's Carlos Machado. On top
Thank
of
you,
being an
bud.
expert, the preeminent expert in your field, you're also one of the coolest guys in the world. What's going on, Carlos?
Thank you, bud. Well, just doing my thing, man. Eating less and working as usual. Sleeping better, keeping mindset going, being focused, whether when I'm teaching, training, watching tape. So it has been kind of like a rediscovery time for me.
Tell me more.
Happen is a lot of times you kind of your focus into what everybody else is doing. So I kind of try to integrate upon what I have. You see what I'm saying? So a lot of times information is so pervasive everywhere that's easy to get. And I believe that you should go slow and steady on your approach whenever you add knowledge or you add skills. I think too, for me, methodology of training is the key element that I believe can accelerate and sustain your growth uh, technically and skill set in jiu-jitsu. So I can dig deeper into it as you ask more. But it's kind of like a lot of times I was kind of scratching the surface. Now I'm trying to go to the core, if that makes any sense. So, and I can give examples.
Yeah, dude, give us some examples.
So I was watching Gordon Ryan. That was on my feed with Josh Burnett, and Josh Burnett is a big guy.
Yeah.
So is Gordon, but Josh had size advantage, and he's a catch wrestler. He's not somebody that you easily maneuver. I've seen him compete against other jiu-jitsu practitioners in
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
past, like in Leaser, Hidon Gracie, and so on, and of course, Ryan Gordon Ryan is on his own category for that matter. But when he was doing the arm drag he did a butterfly hook flip on Josh, and when he went for the back control, he went as far as he could across the back, and pulled or put his back on the ground. He was kind of pushing from the floor. I see Eddie Bravo doing the 10th planet is standard, like you grab the wrist and you kind of find for the guy's arm, you kind of up, you know so it kind of gave me a good perspective. It's not that I didn't do that, but when you see somebody doing with that ease against a very heavy and to an extent seasoned opponent, and for me it was the ease in which Josh was flipped that I so when I do tape study right now, I try to get glimpses. I mean, I try to catch glimpses of small details instead of trying to watch. I think the conceptual part, but I want just like what is that little piece that if I add to my engine is going to create a whole new performance, or to my technique to that
I was
extent.
watching I was watching some highlights and some footage of Mikey Musumeci the other day, and just watching how
Yeah.
he does his straight ankle lock. And if you, I don't know if have you been watching the UFC BJJ event?
I glimpses of it when uh, Jay Brown had the win against the wrestler's name. I saw Andy Varela and Nate Haddad. What else I saw? I saw Krikorian going against somebody else. I haven't been consistent on that though, but catch up with me on
Well,
the straight ankle.
I just bring it up because there's footage of him coaching, and he was talking about on his straight ankle lock how he goes lock the ankle, and then he locks what he calls double elbow
Hmm.
to keep it from moving. And something that I've been doing a lot of, especially since I saw Matej Shashinsky you know, he's really the guy responsible for bringing back the ankle lock as the new meta in jiu-jitsu. And he goes in and he does like an old school style ankle lock grip where he just grips the ankle and then figure fours, and then he plays it in super tight like this. But what I was finding is that if I go in and I just try to keep it all tight like this, that my elbow stays open just a little. And so I started like making the emphasis on my straight ankle to take my elbow all the way to my belly button, and then make my hand low instead of playing high. So I make my hand low and then I come and grab the elbow so it doesn't slip. And now that ankle is trapped, I'm not just rolling it backwards, because you see there's still a gap here. But if I take this elbow all the way to the center and then lock it, then there's no space for the foot at all. And then if I bring this up, it makes my elbow open. And so I saw that Mikey was doing with the double elbow, but that makes the elbow open just a little bit. And I saw that his opponents had just a little bit of room to move. And if you watch any of his recent matches, like against Felipe Machado, or the last match that he had at 1, he gets into this position. He stays there for a long time because he's just offering just a little too much space right there. But I find that if I drop this hand and turn my hand over, my elbow stays totally closed. Then I can just lock it in position, and then there's no space. So I started doing this straight ankle, dropping the hand, and then locking the elbow and bringing it across. And that just keeps everything so tight. So yeah, there's so many incredible details to learn still.
Yeah, Chris Wozniak, a good description too, where you bring the elbow really high. You know what I'm saying? So you're doing across the body, and he kind of goes, kind of like your arms are like, you know, short. Same principle for chokes. You know, everything kind of so connected that there's very little, if not no gap. I do believe connection is key. I like the numbers game. If you have 3 joints connected, you are likely to complete the movement. So a lot of times, let's say if you have the elbow, right? You have the elbow, and then you have the chest, and then the other arm on your elbow. So you have, and instead of being the elbow high, you're just kind of keep your arm more extended, more in sideways movement. Do you know how Ryan Aitken switches the heel hook? Like how he finished people at the PGF that we went on the previous one. That he would start with the heel and then he kind of would switch back to the other side. So I think when you start to entry, you know, with angles, it's a whole deep connections that you're gonna find yourself in. I do feel that all the time. I think the guys who are very skilled, like Musumeci and some of the bulls and other guys that do the competitive jiu-jitsu at a higher level these days, whether they are conscious or not, they're playing with angles. You know, like when the Ruotolo brother did the Ruotolo, you know, like most people would try to do the rear naked, and he went with under the arm, you know, and it's just kind of interesting how infinite the options are. But I think in your sense, one thing that I remember you doing ankle locks, and you would kind of like go for the 50-50, let your body extend and take that with you. You know, like a lot of times guys that do the ankle lock where you do, you know, face down and just kind of let the extension plays it out. And then you see guys that do this adaptation, where I wonder how little motion do you need in order to apply pressure? That's my question to you.
Not much.
How much pressure? Not much, right?
Not much.
So
honestly, like since I started doing this, I feel like I really don't even need a great leg positioning. Like my positioning doesn't even have to be good. If I can just get here, get my ribs, get my body weight laying on the blade of the foot, like
Mhm.
like laying on the inside of the foot blade here, that it pins the foot, and it's just so painful. Like I was here last
Yeah.
night, and I'm in Las Vegas right now, and me and Zoltan and Jeff Glover, we were all training last night, and we were playing around with that. And I was showing Jeff, man, if you could just get here and lay down on the blade of the foot, like you don't even need good leg positioning. He's just like, oh my God, that's great.
Yeah. I think what you do too is, besides the angle, the diagonal to the center, diagonal, that center line that you're putting your elbow in the center, pressure when you add the second grip on the elbow, it kind of, I think any submission or any position, you have to create tension before you execute the submission. So I feel it's a lot of times important to squeeze as much as you can first before you start twisting or extension of the joint. Does that make sense? Yeah. So Hickson Gracie, always said, if I grab your limb, I want your limb to be part of my body, an extension of my body. So that's kind of like the thinking process. I like extension of, not extension, but the opening of your chest when you make contact, and a lot of times you make, you expand your body and then you contract, and then you expand and then you contract, expand and contract. You're trying to get somebody's back on the seatbelt. So when you expand and you contract, your hands through more easily on the body, instead of trying to just go with the arms. So I feel the more you engage the body, the better. I do feel though, Brent, that pressure is the key. Like once you get the angle and that trap, just to kind of put enough connection against your body before you squeeze. I know you're busy out there, man. The thing is pinging like crazy,
Sorry,
right?
man. Let me turn it off. Hold on.
No, it's all good.
I could hit it to sleep. That way it doesn't make that noise on us.
Yeah. But one thing, just kind of add up to what I was talking to you about at an earlier time. As you get older, you want to roll and roll hard and roll continuously and everything. But for instance, your profession is, in my case, and I believe in yours, we are instructors, we are mentors, we are teachers, and we also try to do a lot of other things through the martial arts. You're doing a tournament, the PGF, it's innovative. Martial arts is always there, that element. But when you do your own personal growth, I think you need what we call I call twin shadows.
Okay, tell me more.
Okay, twin shadows. You have two guys that are lesser skilled than you, and each one has a different strength. But they're skilled than you. And those two guys are the ones you're going to use the most for your skill building.
Yeah. Dude, you know what's funny? I'll tell you a funny story. Yeah. That's exactly what you're saying. Okay. When I was a blue belt, there wasn't very much jiu-jitsu out here. Nowhere that was close enough for me to go and learn. And so I was flying back and forth to Los Angeles. I'd save up my money. I would be like, all right, I'll go to LA and I'll stay as long as I can. And then I'll run out of money and I'll come home. And so I would just go and learn and try to come home and practice and learn and come home and practice. And I just did this for like 15 years. I did this. But when I was a blue belt, I had Eddie. I brought him out to train with us in Decatur. And he was asking me how everything's going. And I was like, man, I'm the highest ranked guy that I'm training with, and I'm a blue belt. Like, I'm never going to get good like this. I just was like, I'm never going to get good like this. And he goes, no. You're never going to get good defensively like this. He said, but your offense is going to be, in 3 years, your offense is going to be so sharp because you're going to be practicing against people who can't stop you, and you're going to get to refine all of that. And he said, anytime you see a new guy come in, you pick him out like the weakest gazelle in the back of the pack, and you just run offense on that guy. And he was right. My offense definitely peaked before my defensive skills did. And then as everybody got better, my defensive skills started to rise,
Yeah. Well, no, this is relative because BI created tiebreakers, it kind of reminded everybody themselves in bad spots from the start and work their way out. Get the guy on your back, or start with an arm bar, you name it. I was watching an interview with Micah Galvão, you know, the prodigious black belt kid, young kid from Brazil. And you know who's the highest ranked training partner that he has at his place right now? It's a blue belt. Yeah. Now, they do MMA and judo. I'm not sure what kind of ranking he has. But when he was doing fight camp or training camp before ADCC or the who's number one tournaments, he didn't have anybody better than him or of his caliber at all. All he did with the guy. So his dad is his main trainer, kind of designed the training, but he was just telling, I make do with the guys that I got. It is the way I use them to my objective. So he has always an end in sight when he's training, whether it's positional, whether he starts from bad positions. And of course, he has the conditioning and the strengthening and all the, different fitness support that he supplements jiu-jitsu with, so he can be physically, in the best peak in that regard as well. But that was very surprising, because that's what his dad emphasized. Said, you don't get better by training people better than you. You use people who are your level better to test yourself. You get better by consistently working with people below your level. And if it works for Micah, because people are asking, why in the world you don't travel somewhere where you have like a higher caliber training partners and all that stuff? So if it works for him and he's at that high level, I don't know what else to say.
Yeah.
I'm saying, I think too, and I know somebody. Do you have a chat there? Or somebody put a question.
Yeah, you want to check it out? This is this is a friend of mine. This is JC Hyatt, purple belt. He runs a school called Grapple over in Mississippi. Really smart guy, good guy. He says, I have two guys who are good in specific positions, so I'm able to put myself in bad positions that they are good in, and I'll work out of it, and I have to trust that they won't break me.
Yeah, I think on the rules of engagement, it's already clear that your training partners to help you, not to, detract you. Like if for some reason somebody gets hurt, that's not part of the game. Here too, I have that formula that actually I started implementing that on my instruction. My students spend as much energy doing drills as they do when they roll. Because when they do, there are no reps and there's no time for the reps. I mean, for the drills. We go to the next one. So I may have three things I want to cover, but if all you got was 1 and 2, but you got it, I'm happy. You don't have to get the 3. The other one we can.
Yeah, we'll catch up to it at some.
Yeah, we'll catch up to it. So my main thing, I want you to get it, and I cannot tell you when, because different people are equipped with different muscle memory, and their intuition and their skill set can be particular. So you're going to have faster and slower learners. Okay, but the point here that I make is those 3 levels: easy, not so easy, not easy at all. So you 3, and you cannot allow your training partner to stay on the easy more than necessary. So doing drills with you in the beginning, easy. Let's go about do the move. Then not so easy, not easy at all, and to the point that you fail. Then what happened? You go back, easy, not so easy, not easy at all. And as you keep recycling that intensity level during the drills, your thresholds gradually builds. And then for the instructor, the only thing I work on at a later time is the reverse engineering. Let's say you got 70% execution, but still when the guy resists all the way, you still have like a 30 to 20% off to close the finish line. So let me reverse engineer in the last part. Let's say if it was an arm bar, so we start the EBI tiebreaker. Okay, let's see if I can break the grip from here and maintain you in that position, not losing your arm. But I know how to up to that point. My problem was just that less. Just give an explanation there that you're aware of it. But and then that I emphasize positional before free roll, because whatever it is that we're focusing upon. And the other thing too, my warm-ups, I never start the warm-ups with calisthenics. They barely do some stretches. They do light row, very light. Just kind of, maybe it could be a couple positions, just kind of mechanics right and get the muscles warmed up. And then it's 100% escapes. You start, and we use the, distance level from easy to not easy at all. And they have to start positions. That's the warm-up. A lot of times people do that at the end when you're fatigued, which that can be done too. I like to do cool downs. I just kind of work whatever is the drill of the day to kind of recap time. You just repeat with not too much resistance to just kind of wind down. But the bottom line is start suffering from the start. Start your regiment with challenge all the way to the point that you're ready to roll. So it doesn't matter how much time you have on the mat, every minute will count. Because the bottom line is, it's much easier to have a loose game when there's no attrition. You kind of let the guy do it. I like as soon as possible for one person to challenge the other. I used to hate the guys in the beginning that used to do a drill, and the first thing that the guy does is what? Bang. Have you had those? I mean, let's do a drill, and the guy's all stiff and everything. So I tell the guy, be a jerk, but let the guy do one good, and then be a jerk. So I actually give those guys permission to messing each other up. And my goal is to map out how I'm going to make, for whoever's the guy applying the drill, more odds of succeeding than not.
Something I started doing with my students, it's just a slight shift in the teaching strategy, but I started teaching the uke more as the more important drilling partner than the guy who's learning the move. I started thinking about it like holding mitts in boxing. I have to feed the mitts to you to teach you the proper way to throw a hook. Like, boom, I got to know how to feed the mitts. And actually, the guy who's feeding the mitts is the coach. He's the guy that has the higher skill set, the higher understanding. It's the guy who's the uke. And if the uke understands what the goal is in the movement, he understands where to put his body weight. He understands the circumstances and the context of the situation. And so he knows how to feed the movement so that the guy can actually practice. And so that was something that I started doing that's made a huge difference in the speed of learning in the room.
All right. So that's all the two sides of the coin. You can't have one side escape if the other one doesn't know how to hold. Because a lot of times the guy's not even positioned. So the minimum you can do is for the uke, okay, guys, this is how you hold. And I like to do that. Okay, this is how you hold, and this is your objective. A lot of times I think the easiest thing, whether the guy's a beginner or a more mature student, assign an objective. Because when you do that, automatically they have clarity. Oh, okay, I'm going to hold this guy. That's all I want to do. I have to cross face and then you just kind of put that in that position, spread your legs out, tuck your knee on the hip. Okay, this is it. Start again. Now switch. Now you be the one holding on top, and then go from there. So it kind of illustrates what you're saying. Yeah, you're not talking to one, you're talking to two at the same time. Now, in some instances, I break the class too. And half of my class will learn something opposite than what the other classes learn.
That's funny.
And then I switch them around. Stages of training, and I a good way to teach was, if you're doing mount escape, do mount escape first and then later work on attacks. No, I like parallel. I want the guy to be able to start escaping from somebody who knows what they are doing when they're on top.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Because you once you build that threshold, go through that stage where you can go against somebody who's not just on top of you holding you, the guy knows the basic elements of what he's supposed to do, like you're saying, the skill set goes up dramatically.
Yeah, it's so much easier to learn like that.
Yeah, man. I think here we are on the cusp of innovation, not just on the content, like what you teach, but on the context, how you teach. And that's the other part that's really challenging. I'm trying to focus now because I want my students not to be frustrated, be injured. So a lot of times you teach people what to do, and I
Yeah.
think that as critical, if not more, in the beginning than just knowing content. Does that make
Yeah,
sense?
100%.
So
And when I was starting, I didn't have the experienced practitioners around me to lead me in that way, because I was out in Alabama. Just, I don't want to say I was learning on my own. I was always learning from other sources, but the implementation of the education was completely up to me. I didn't have somebody standing over the top of me going, "Don't do it that way, do it this way," pointing out the shortcuts. And I also didn't have somebody going, "Hey, calm down. You don't have to kill each other to learn." But now that it's a lot, I've got a lot more experience and just know a lot more. It's way easier to guide the room.
yeah, I agree, man. We are conductors in an orchestra. Everybody has to sync up.
So,
I think somebody else has a chat there. What was it?
well, JC was talking about how he's been organizing his classes over there in Mississippi. And you're familiar with the term CLA, constraints-led approach, or ecological. Some people are
Yeah,
calling it
yeah,
ecological.
yeah, yeah. The one that Rex Saunders
Yep,
does.
yep.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
Sure.
JC's saying that he's been doing that for 50% of their drilling and their warm-ups, and he's made 80% of all his rounds start in specific positions this year, and it's really paid off for his students.
100%. 100%. When you start with the ending site, you leave less room for error.
Hmm.
And the thing is, it's kind of like I'm not sure who was talking about that. Uh, Look at any sport: basketball, soccer, American football. You see the game flow and everybody going everywhere. But when you see them preparing for the game, it's almost boring.
Mm-hmm.
Because they do the plays, the game plan, and they kind of study the film of their opposing teams, and they have all the different play calls. So literally, they're rehearsing over again. So it's they barely. You're not going to see them practicing all the time. My brother Higgins spent time with the Russian Greco-Roman team back in the early '90s. At that time, Dan Henderson, Randy Couture, those guys before UFC time, they're all part of that training environment right there. They had some coach from San Diego that was Higgins' friend. Forgot his name. You come to me in a second. But Higgins talked to the Russians at that time when the Russians were amongst the top wrestlers in the world. And the way they trained, they went half speed for the majority of the week. Some hobby sports that they did, playing soccer, ping pong, you name it. And then they had one day, or maybe two at most, that they would go hard, like if they were emulating.
Yeah.
It was very much lesser than, but the training was always active, dynamic drilling, kind of like the positional training that we do in jiu-jitsu. They were doing that back then. At that time, they were on the peak of performance in regards to number of medals and things like that. You know what I'm
It's a
saying?
totally different training
So,
approach. The Russian, especially the wrestlers, had a
yeah.
totally different training approach and training methodology than the Americans. JC said that he thinks, as Magnus Carlsen said, start with the end in mind. And I always try to remember that when I'm planning my lessons each day. Actually, that's a guy named Stephen Covey. There's a book called The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And one of those
I have.
habits is begin with the end in mind.
Yeah. So even when you go to an open mat or something, you gotta have, okay, I'm gonna work guard retention today.
Yeah.
I'm gonna work
I'm just going to work
top
on
side.
bringing that elbow across.
Yeah. I'm gonna just see how many ankles I can get. So that I remember when I was a blue belt doing that was late, the Gracie family, Halls Gracie. He was the best grappler at the time prior to his time. And I remember I was a blue, 16-year-old watching, and he said, okay, guys, I'm gonna get everybody. And he had a room of like maybe 30 people, and amongst the adults, they're probably like half brown and all the other half black belts. And he went to the room one by one, and everybody got caught eventually in the
That's so
Kimura.
crazy.
Oh, and we didn't have yet the strategy of submission chain, but he had a knee on the belly, fake a choke. The guy tries to push the knee, you grab the arm, go for the north-south Kimura, or just from the Kimura across like a catch wrestler. And he was just getting everybody from there. And then if he was not from there, bottom, he would just go for Kimura from the guard, from every position. And of course, today is commonplace. But it's interesting when you put something in your head, it changes the whole perspective on how you train. You become literally more focused, in my opinion.
So, Carlos, what's coming up next? For those of you that don't know that are watching, Carlos and we have a website that we do together called bjj365.club. I just put the link to it there in the comments. And, this is an archive of my content going back almost 10 years now, seminars, classes, full instructional courses. And then we've got a ton of Carlos's material on there as well. I think we put almost 400 videos of you up there.
Jeez.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Holy crap.
Already about 400. And then each week we will go in and we'll go live and just help study footage or just talk through technical problems that some of our members and students may be having. What's coming up next? What are you going to drop on us at BJJ 365 next?
Okay, so the idea here, one of the research that I'm trying to implement here is now that we have this game going on with gi and no gi, I'm trying to figure out how can I make the same move, whether it's gi or no gi. How can I correlate both? You know what I'm saying? Because there's a lot of jiu-jitsu have grips and in no gi you have grabs. So that has kind of, I'm always like, whenever I train, I'm always thinking if the guy doesn't have a gi. So now it's not uncommon in my class that he's optional. So I have some guys that are wearing the gi, others who are not, and it's really interesting. One goes with the other. One is wearing the jacket, so the other guy has the advantage of the grip, and the other guy has to and compensate against the guy that he has no grips to work with because the guy has no gi. Right? So it creates for me some sort of a research. I'm a believer on hierarchy points, like neck, shoulders, elbows, and wrists, and then knees and ankles and toes. So the higher the joint, the value. If you have a neck, that's number one. No accident for PGF. You score more points. I think with me and you, I like to do is see how your perspectives when you're doing your techniques and see how I can incorporate that on some of the way I do my things. Like for instance, about body connection. I like jiu-jitsu to be something that it doesn't take that long for you to become more proficient. And so I'm really intrigued, like when I'm teaching, whether it's a basic drill or more sophisticated move, it simplifies the steps. So a lot of times you might see sending you a footage, and then a month later, I'm going to do the same move with is added to it because I figure out, you know what? And this is the irony of jiu-jitsu, is the blessing, is the blessing and the curse. The blessing is you can come to amazing conclusion practicing and teaching, and then a month passes, you figure out a lot of things whether you came across or the people that you saw doing different things, like the Gordon Ryan example on the hook flip, his body positioning, and then it was like, whoa, so now you put that back there and it just spins off. I call shockwave. There's like little things that create an impact, tremendous impact. So I'm a researcher. I like to see what can I do that can transform a move. You show me something, I want to be transformed. So I think what we're doing basically, we're not trying to teach techniques, we're trying to cause an experience. What it is that some people can get from you or from me, whether it's gi or no, they'll transform their experience on the mat, and a lot of times practice against the white belts, play any, then the blues, and then go above. Don't get greedy and go against the higher belt right off the bat, because then you have time to build it up. So all those concepts, and training tips, I think those are of value as well, like what we're doing now. Maybe a conversation a lot of times where we exchange some ideas might transform somebody's perspective. So even if no technique was demonstrated, those guys have a new perspective when they go apply whatever game they're playing. So I'm excited with it. I want impact. And jiu-jitsu is universal. It doesn't matter how you do it. There's always a better way to do it, but it's an endless process. And I don't think I can develop all alone. I need big brains like yours and everyone. When Zoltan came here, tell him the Shotogari that he showed me, go down left and right.
Oh, where he steps into the knee?
Yeah.
Dude, that's a great detail.
I do that for self-defense. I'll do that for law enforcement. I see cops taking people down, just like, and actually you can control more the speed in which the guy is taken down. It's crazy.
Dude, he showed me a detail on a drop seonagi last night that I've never seen before. Never seen it.
Yeah.
He showed me 2 details. So I have to share that with you next time I see you.
Oh, I can't wait.
You probably already know, but it blew my mind. It was so simple. Zoe showed me this change that was so simple that it kind of blew. Yeah, you gonna say hi? Oh, I got a special guest for you right here, Coach.
Hey, what's up?
How you doing? Oh, he froze. There you are. How you doing?
I'm here. I'm doing great.
I'm good. I'm good. Just getting ready for the show tomorrow, for the draft.
I'll wait to see it. I'll try to go there when it's the final.
Oh yeah, that's September 10th. Hoist is going to be there.
Yeah, I can't wait to see
Hoist and Henzo. They're both coming, but don't tell anybody. Yeah, they're going to put.
She said, "Don't tell anybody." She's broadcasting it out to the world.
Oh my God!
Oh, this is live. Oh my God! You got me in my robe live. I'm sorry. Okay, I'm just kidding.
Hey, that's all good. That's all good.
Oh my God!
You put Hoist in hand room. Oh man, there's trap coming.
Well, tell her we'll cut that part.
All right, we'll cut that part. Too late, right? Tell your Mississippi friend not to disclose that information. It's all good. Yeah.
I did tell you.
You got me looking like an elf on the shelf. Oh my God.
Yeah. Uh-oh. Yeah. You should have Brandon.
She looked at me and she said, "Is that live?" I was like, "Yeah." But I think she thought it was just you and I talking.
It's to the world. Tell her now it's too late.
We'll hide it back behind the paywall.
But I think too, Brandon, this is it. Okay, so you're always in touch with great competitors and great minds, and you're a student of the art. I'm the art, so we're there to share with one another. And I think just changing interaction of what we do, I think it can be conducive for progress. Who is part of it? And I think the fact that you take time, and I would take time too, sometimes to break down not just tape of regular we've done with some of the UFASs that you're being part of, but also the upcoming PGF, and then personal clips from some of the students or participants in our membership group that want to send something out that we can just elaborate, so it's all good. I love doing that. So it's out of love and passion. It's not just a regular website.
Yeah, it's I've put a lot of work into that thing over the years, and then by bringing in, I would say, somebody of your caliber, there really isn't anybody else of your caliber. So to have you involved has really made the level and the value of the membership increase dramatically. And JC was just talking there in the side. He's like, this is what he said. It's a gold mine. Y'all sign up. And then if anybody is interested in jumping in, you can use, where is it here? You can use this code here. Try this code CMJJ. That'll make it $1 for the first month if you want to try it out. Don't share it with anybody. Just for the people on the live stream. So
There you go.
Carlos, we you're on the PGF board of advisors. You were a coach last season. You're an integral part of what we're trying to do. Do you have any thoughts on the draft coming up tomorrow?
Well, I tell you what, if I was to tell you, I love everybody who is in the group, but I'm very intrigued about Jet Thompson.
Yeah, I think he's going to go number
now
one.
He's grown up. He's a muscle. He got some more face hair. Man, I see that smile right there is mischievous. You know what I'm saying?
That old toothless smile.
Yeah, so I'm very intrigued to see what will come out of it. You know, I think I know that some of the coaches, I saw Canuto. Who else is out there?
Andy Varela, Mika Sapili,
Mika, yeah,
and Robert Drysdale.
And Drysdale, man, those are like top notch. You know what I'm saying? See, and man, I don't know what to say. You know, it's just like, what time does it start, by the way?
It goes live at noon Pacific time, so 2 p.m. Central tomorrow.
2 p.m. Central. Usually it's like a 2-hour span, right? Like an hour.
Yeah, it'll probably take us 2 hours, maybe 3 hours when we start interviewing everybody at the end. You know.
Oh my gosh, that would be crazy.
Yeah, it's gonna be nuts.
I can't wait, man.
First time that I mean, it's going to be crazy. I think by the time we hit maybe week 3 of this season, that the whole industry is going to be like, man, this is the best thing ever for jiu-jitsu. I really think it will be, because we'll be sort of the number one news story in jiu-jitsu every week for, a couple of months. And I think with everybody having a chance, like all the fans having a chance to like watch the results, think about who's going to be on their fantasy team, pick their teams. I think it's going to be – I just don't think there's ever been anything even remotely close to it in the history of our sport.
Well, I think back because what I see going on right now is you have these tournaments that they start on a time lapse in the beginning, and then it's kind of like a few days there. Most weekends, right, when you have ADCC or CJI, yours is a season, and every week. So for me, it's still a question mark in this because I'm used to the old format.
Yeah.
Which it had the pros and cons. I think the advantages with this layout that you got is it's like literally a TV show.
Yeah.
The showmanship.
Yeah, and
is going to go to that level because
it makes appointment television. Just like real sports. Sports is really like the last. Live sports is really like the last appointment television that there is. Because everything else you can Netflix, or you can, you could TiVo it, or you could save it. You can come back and watch it whenever. But if you miss the live sports, you miss the fun. There's no reason to even go back, because now the results are all over Instagram.
Yeah, you have the spoilers.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I should what matches you're not gonna have, man, because now these guys have a week in between bouts. So now, when they start, do they have 3 matches in the first?
Yeah, so it's exactly the same as the season.
Okay, I got you.
Did, just instead of in 1 week, we spread it out.
Okay, I got you.
Once per week.
Still plenty of action, but some space in between. So you're going to see the best of the best, because now these guys will be replenished. The athletes will be recovered. Man, they're going to go all out. I think the fans are going to be the ones who are going to benefit the most. And I think the Wednesday, like a sweet spot.
Yes, nothing else.
Because it's mid of the week. It's not weekend. There's nothing conflicting or competing with it. What's going to be the big time start for you?
Well, the draft will be noon, but each game day will be 4 p.m. Pacific time or 6 p.m. Central.
Perfect. I'm gonna display on my screens, all my flat screens in my dojo.
Yeah, everybody come in and watch together.
Yeah. Oh man, it's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, it's gonna be great.
Brandon, I'm gonna have to cut short right now. Believe it or not, I have to get and go teach. I hate to say goodbye, but this is not a goodbye. It's just a hello.
Just a see you later.
Okay, and we'll continue again. Love, all the best tomorrow. Tell Mr. It was a pleasure to have him on the broadcast with us, and hopefully for anybody who listens to this at a later time, please don't be shy to throw in any comments or questions that you have, because like they say, I'll be back.
Guys, thank you so much for joining us. Carlos, much love. Tell Lindsay and the rest of your family I said hello and I love them.
Likewise, same to you.
All right.
Take care, my brother.